Hey YouTube, it's David, George Photographer. Today I want to talk about what kind of got me interested in photography. You know what that is? That's evidence of the beavers that live in this creek. It's literally like 20 degrees outside today. It's daggum cold. It's almost not pleasant. Look, I have a friend. She's wanting to visit with me today. But I figured I'd come down here to the creek today just to go somewhere a little different. You know, I haven't done much from this area. We cleared out this little spot last summer to kind of get out of the heat. We can get down here. The water moves real slow through this little section of the creek, so you know, it's kind of just a cool area. I was watching the Northrop's video on I think the girl's name is Shabbat. It's the Afghan girl from the Nat Geo picture from the 80s. You know, the most iconic McCurry photo ever produced or whatever. He was talking about, you know, what got him into photography, and that photo was part of it. And I also got a request from a subscriber to basically tell how I got into photography, and I thought, you know, maybe now's the time to do the video. So that's what this video is about. There's not going to be any tips or tricks or, you know, anything like that, or any matter of fact, there won't even be any photos in it. I'm warning you now, I'm just going to drivel on for the next few minutes. But anyway, my first real experience with photography was in the late 70s, early 80s, and we didn't have a lot growing up. For us, the only camera we had was one similar to this, the little 110 instant camera that you see. Well, you don't see them prevalently anymore, but used to. These were pretty popular because they were pocket cameras. You could stick it in your pocket. You know, it's not very big. I think you could even get 36 exposure rolls of film for them. They take reasonably good 4x6 snapshots, so you know it's a good snapshot camera. This was the iPhone of the 70s. Now this one is an upgraded model. This one was given to us by a friend of mine who's a professional photographer, and he come into it somewhere. But this one actually has a telephoto mode, which is unusual. I've never seen one with a telephoto mode. You don't get shutter speed, you don't get aperture control. All you get to do, it even shows, there's a little chart on this particular one. It shows ISO 100 is for sunny days, light shade, and then 400 speed is for flash off. So, you know, they just tell you, you know, run faster ISO if you want to get in some dimmer light. It's that simple. But I don't remember at what point we got one with a flash, but that was like opening up a whole new world, you know. But up until I was in high school, I didn't see anything really but these, and my granddad, who recently passed away, was a big Polaroid guy. He had the Polaroids. Every time a new one come out, he'd go get it. The collapsible ones, the fancy ones with the button on the front, the one that had the 4 flash cubes across the top, and then the one that had the built-in flash. And he loved Polaroid photography. He had the kind you had to pull it out of the side and then peel it off real slow, and then the ones that come out the front on their own eventually. He did it all. Once I got into high school though, the yearbook committee had, I think they were Canon AE1s. I don't remember. They were some sort of SLR camera. But they didn't have flash on them, and they had like a 50mm lens. You know, it was just, they just had the one lens, and they would carry them little cameras around everywhere they went and photograph stuff for the yearbook everywhere they went. That was the exposure I had to cameras up till I got out on my own in the late 80s. I'd always been fascinated with photography, but I just never had the money or the opportunity, I guess you would say, to access it. Once I got out on my own, I just happened through a pawn shop one day. I had a little carpentry business deal that I was doing on the side, and I would be looking for like the skill saws and jigsaws and things like that, and you could get them pretty good priced in pawn shops at the time. And I just happened to walk by and notice this little Yashica camera, and it was a little auto metering Yashica SLR that had a dead battery in it, and the guy didn't want much for it, and it had 2 or 3 lenses with it. And I struck a deal with him. I don't remember, it was less than $100, 50, 75 bucks, something like that, because it needed a battery. He couldn't confirm that it worked, and it took some kind of a little, kind of like a nickel, you know, about that big. So I rooted around till I found a battery for it. There was a camera shop in Chattanooga at the time called Superior Camera, and I think they had a battery because I bought my 500mm lens from them. And that was my first step into telephoto photography. But here's the next part. I had no one to teach me how to use it, and it didn't come with an owner's manual. I literally put it in program mode and shot virtually all of my photography without adjusting the aperture, the shutter speed, or the ISO. The ISO I always had to set because the film you picked, you had a knob on the top of the shutter speed, if I remember right, and you had to adjust the value till it matched your ISO of your film. So I did set that, but I ran it in program mode, and it would automatically meter the light, and I just adjusted my shutter speed based off of that, and used that camera to pretty good effect for about 5 years. It was a fun little camera. I took all sorts of photos with it. These cats have found me down here. But I photographed all sorts of things through the 90s with it. And the photos are up there buried in a box, and I just wasn't in the mood to dig them out. But I have very few photos from my youth because of the lack of access to camera. You know, Mama's probably got Christmas pictures and birthday photos and crap. Aside from that, that's probably all the photos there really are of us. There's just not many. But that's what got me into photography, was a little 110 film camera and enjoying the documenting of something. I'm a more documentarian, whatever that term is. I like to take pictures of stuff for posterity a lot of times. I do like to get the occasional artistic style photo, but for the most part, I like to document stuff. Get pictures of something like it is now. Wow, that's bright. And then see what it looks like in 10 years kind of thing. But, all right, I've driveled on long enough. If y'all like my videos, hit the like and subscribe buttons if y'all don't mind. And if y'all have anything to say about what got you into photography, put them in the comments below. You know, let everybody have a discussion. What was your first experience that intrigued you about photography, you know? So with that, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and I really appreciate you guys listening to me. If you watch this video all the way to the end, say it in the comments. Let's see here, what's gonna be the secret word? 110 film. Drop it in the comments somewhere. Let's see if you can work that into a sentence. Anyway, we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.